It's Lil Baby.
Welcome to episode 49 of Conversations with Chai. I'm your host, Ihram Chowdhury, aka Lil Baby Ram. Today, I got family with me. I got family with me. I got my boy Vy and YDV.
Yes, sir. Yours truly.
Yo, appreciate you boys doing this. We've been kicking it, so we've been having a good time. But I'm glad we finally made this happen. Because as like a creative, like I always say like I love seeing people who do it and like do it in a way that I like respect. And that has so much to do with like the work ethic. That has so much to do with the strategy and like I know like the hard work that like goes into it. Like you could always see it.
Mm-hmm.
Like people always like you can't cap that. Like it's so transmutable. That's definitely the wrong word.
Yo, we gonna need a dictionary.
It's
evolving already. We gonna need the bows, whatever the fuck.
Nah, but
it goes back to what you said though.
Yeah,
work always shows
up, right?
Yeah.
And you boys are boys that like I caught early, and I was like, yo, like they onto something, right? And I told Vi that I've hit you about that. I was like, yo, y'all got something. But I want to have like a conversation with y'all because I think that what would be like beneficial to the audience, right? Because you guys are obviously people that give like a lot of thought to like your craft, but also thought behind like the business behind your craft.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm somebody obviously as a consumer, as somebody who just a fan of like culture is observing it and has my own opinion. And something that I always say on the pod about artists, right? And you guys are like artists at like a high level, is that I don't think that we in a spot to produce like singles and produce like music videos, right? Because I don't think that the marketplace appreciates it to the level that the spend is on.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all are obviously artists that I respect the strategy, and y'all have and I've complimented you both on it, right? Y'all got music videos, y'all got events going, right? And it's like, yo, that's crazy. But I want to hear the strategy behind it, right? Because I want to have that conversation because I think a lot of artists out there are trying to figure out what their strategy game plan should be to blow. Because I think like the old, I'm just going to do things and then hopefully a record label sign me and do it. Like those days are over, right? Like there's too many people in the game. The level is saturated, right? So I want to hear both of y'all kind of takes on why do a full rollout for an album.
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah, you could actually go. Before anything, though, I just wanted to say, if we're talking about strategy, somebody that should have been here today wasn't able to make it. RMS.
Yeah.
RMS is
we love you.
We love you, bro. We wish you were here with us too. Goddamn right. When it comes to strategy, I think every person has their own strategy because that is an authentic representation of yourself. There isn't a strategy that it's like a play-by-play where if I do this, I'm going to make it tomorrow. If that existed, then it'd be a very different game. The way that we operate is to make sure that whatever we're doing doesn't change the narrative of what we feel when we close the doors. And that's why it's really easy to make a music video or a content or a song is because we're just talking about ourselves to people. Yeah, it might not be different. And I think a single or an album, it's a representation of where we are in that moment.
Talk about the strategy behind like releasing like a bunch of singles
Yes.
or releasing a full album, right?
Yes.
With music videos and visuals, and you're obviously you're about to have like a whole like release party, right?
Yes.
So I want to hear like the strategy and thinking on why, because I fall on the side of let's not even have albums, let's just do singles until one of them catches.
Yeah. So right back to where we were. A lot of us and our collective, like our friend group, we're all students of the art. And this was a combo that we were having before. It's like we really care about the intricate things. And a single or an album at that certain period of time are a representation of the artist's state of mind. When it's an independent artist, I think it's really important to understand what you are trying to do and not be clouded by what's going on outside. And the best way to do that is, first off, just experiment with sound. When you start experimenting with a lot of music is when you're in that single stage. Because the singles are you experimenting, trying to find out what sound is you.
You
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, so I get,
The album, though, is your sound.
But I want to, so like, I get like and me and you have had these conversations behind closed doors, right? I get the perspective of like y'all as artists, right?
Yeah.
And like the perspective that I want to bring into y'all, right? And like not just y'all, right? This is like for everybody else who's like listening, who's trying to like pop it off as an artist, right? Is the business behind it.
Yeah.
Although I respect like, yo, like the, hey, like we want to produce like my thing as an artist, right? And having that, I get that more than anybody, right? Like I look at this shit as like my art craft, right? So it's like, I get that, but I don't think that the marketplace is at a point to appreciate that, because I know how much time both of y'all have spent on albums, EPs, right?
Yeah.
And I'm always like, yo, I don't think the marketplace is appreciating it to the level of love that y'all giving it.
But
Well,
go ahead.
So basically, I'm gonna say two things. One, authenticity is like the biggest factor when it comes to creating in the first place, right? Like the last project I dropped, like real project, was 2020. Like full on, I had an EP. I dropped that. Since then, I've been doing singles only. But I think that, like what Vy was saying, is that if it's not authentic to who you are as an artist, then it doesn't matter what the steps are. You're not going to be in it. There's no joy in it. Then the audience sees that as well, right?
Yeah.
So I get like the marketplace to a certain degree, but I think that there's a very fine line to tote as an artist in today's industry, because we're wearing every single cap, right, all at once.
Exactly.
That you have to balance the creativity and the joy of creating with the business side, and it gets confusing, right?
yeah,
Absolutely.
Wait, just to add on to that real quick, I fully agree. And then the market actually doesn't know what they want,
Yeah, exactly.
and that is a fact.
Shout out Rick Rubin.
Like literally, they don't know, bro. Literally, Creative Act, the book by Rick Rubin. As an artist, if any artist needs to understand where they are, they should definitely. Boy got me that book for me,
Yeah.
slap shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing with authenticity and your position in the game, the market never knows what they want. And one other shout out, Armand Kahani, he's the guy who actually introduced both of us. He is the one that proved to a lot of us South Asians, yes, the market doesn't know what they want, but there is a lot of opportunity in the market.
No,
we just need to know how to position ourselves in the market, and that doesn't come unless you're authentic. Otherwise, you're just reposting or another replica of somebody.
Yeah, like on top of that, like if there was a solid play-by-play book to be followed,
Yeah.
everyone would have blown up already.
Everybody
right?
be the same.
It'd be-
No,
but it's like-
and I don't think that
That's
there's
boring.
I don't think
Yeah.
that there's a play-by-play, but I do think that like, and this is like, again, like, yo, like I get it, and this is like my like pushback on like, obviously like I have a vested interest in y'all, right? And a vested interest in like the people that I like really fuck with in like the marketplace. But it's like, for me, it's like, yo, that attitude, even Rick Rubin's like what he's saying, right? That attitude is, I think, in a time past, because we're at a point where now we're like day trading attention. Like you're not competing just in the music space. You're competing for consumer generally. Anybody who listens to anything, watches anything, that's what you're just day trading attention.
Well, I think if you're competing for attention in the first place, it's a losing race, right?
Yeah.
Like if we're gonna try to compete with people's attention spans, like we've done it. Like we've done campaigns for TikTok. I've done singles only for a long time, right? So I get what you're saying, but like it's a losing race.
No, but you guys are, so like this is where, again, like the like artistry, and like this is where I want to come in. Like, yo, you're in like, whether, and I don't know if y'all look at it this way, but you guys are in like the music business.
Facts, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
like
we
you're
are.
in the music business, right? So from a business perspective, right? You want to, you are day trading attention. There's no way to get around it. Like you don't want to put out things for 5 people to listen to.
Yeah.
You want to put out things for 500,000 people to like listen to, right? And that comes at some level of like trading for that attention.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right.
sure.
And if I think about like the artists, and again, like I think it's good that y'all have the skill set to do full albums, because we see the opposite, right? Where you get a viral hit and then you can't hold
And then they're gone,
and retain
right?
that
Yeah.
audience. But the ones that have been able to do that and then convert it into, hey, now I have the attention, how do I keep it? But getting a consumer to listen in, I say it all the time. If it was up to me, I would not put out a single TikTok or Instagram. You would have to listen to the entire thing for all the gems that I'm going to provide, right? Because I'm giving you a 45-minute masterclass on how to do this. But that's just not the game I'm in. I have to clip it up into 30 seconds and 40 seconds and 20 seconds. So they come to the long form and are like, yo, I'm going to give you an hour of my time. So when you think about albums, let's say 18 minutes, 22 minutes, right? You may not get them for that.
Yeah.
You may get them for 3. Like I think about it like, yo, like the first basics, the first 6 minutes of a pod, super important. If I could get them to listen to this for 6 minutes,
They're hooked. They're
hopefully,
there. Yeah, yeah.
hopefully. But how do I get them to listen for the first 6 or the first 10? Or how do I keep them listening at 30? So if y'all are putting out...
This is my problem.
Bro, album.
Album single, but just like low-key, the truth is art is supposed to be this very intimate thing that you do to find comfort with who you are as a human being, okay? I understand because we do it at such a high level, it becomes a business and we want to turn it into things that make money. But what you're talking about at the core is there has to be either a pathos, logos, or ethos. One of those three need to direct the artist's ethos. And an artist without an ethos is the one that after a viral single hit doesn't have the opportunity to talk about something after. But for example, Aman, who has deep ethos.
Who?
Aman.
Who?
Aman. Yo, we the feds is watching. Feds is watching.
Don't put out his government
Feds is
like,
watching.
Don't put out his whole government like that. Nah.
Yo, drop my social security.
Hey, we're go ahead.
His last name, his address, his mom's name. Like, nah.
Yeah, see,
I love you, Mom.
It's like, and what you just said, right? It is so fucking evident, bro, when something is done to make money or something is done to make art. I think where we are right now is we've made the art. We're good artists. I think it's important to figure out what the next step is, and that's the game changer. But it's this very thin line that a lot of artists have to navigate is where am I doing things for myself and where am I doing things to get a viral clip or some bullshit.
You know what you said about how you have to cut up clips like to catch attention. So basically what it sounds like to me is like the whole podcast is the album, right?
Yeah.
And then you're cutting out singles to drop out to catch people into the album, right? But you're still creating the album at the end of the day. You're creating a bigger project.
And that's not even
Right? Like-
no.
But we're dropping singles. You gotta do the same
But that's
thing.
where I agree with
We
y'all,
just can't
right?
do it as fast as you, bro.
Huh? But that's where I agree with y'all, right?
Yeah.
Because I agree, like that again, like we are artists at the end of the day,
yes,
right?
sir.
Like I absolutely agree that, like, yo, like I do this shit like to put on a masterclass every single time, right? I do this shit for like the love of the game, but again, my opinion on it, the highest devotion to that love is to make sure as many people see this masterclass as possible.
Which is what,
right?
we're trying. Yeah, you're doing.
And that's where I think for example, like I'm never saying like, yo, don't make the album because that is the art,
yeah.
right?
It is, yeah.
It's the
rollout.
it's the rollout strategy.
Exactly.
I get you.
That's
It's
a whole different combo.
Yeah, we talking about like
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
even
a
saying
different
no, I don't
combo.
want to say like don't make the album, right? That's your bro. I don't want to paint like a fucking doodle, right? I want to paint the Mona Lisa and then make a bunch of people watch that shit,
Yeah.
right? But I want to get you hooked, right? I might have to give you a couple doodles, be like, yo, I could do this for real.
But not like what you're saying too is like the question that you're asking, just to make sure we understand it better, is like what level is this artist who would be asking that question? Is it someone established? Is it someone who's making their first song? Is it something? Because all of these things are different. And I think the only two advice to give an artist like who wants to get in this or this thing, one, listen to music that you like, and then make music that you like. Everything else will fall into place.
Also, I want to
Everything else will
piggyback
fall
on
into
the
place.
Mona Lisa thing you just said. It's a good example to think about. Like the reason why the Mona Lisa is still so prominently spoken about and you know admired is because the narrative around the Mona Lisa itself, the narrative around the art piece that was created. So I think it makes sense. Like what we have to do as a community and artists that are up and coming in this industry is to take control of our narratives and create a narrative approach that people can get attached to, that want to see the entire, see us unfold as artists.
Absolutely.
So you're
'Cause, like,
right with that.
I think about like when I started listening to like The Weeknd, right? It was the lore of, yo, this is a random artist with no face, dropping dark and broody records out of like whoever knows, right? Like the lore of that kept me hooked as a fan. It like, the music was fire, and then we got the albums, right?
Was it a single or an album that you heard though? When
Single.
you first, which one? You remember?
Yo,
The Morning. That was my first weekend
Bro,
track.
I remember
The
the
Morning.
album.
Oh my god.
Huh?
I remember the album.
Bro,
the
I'm
first
talking
time I
like,
heard
yo,
this stuff.
in the crates, like,
Are you talking like Subway Train?
Bro, Birthday Suit like came out on like
He's OG.
bro, come
He's
on,
OG. He's OG. With
come on,
Dude,
bro. Like I'm talking like noise, like yo,
Go.
I was on Tumblr for real. I was on Tumblr for real,
You
right?
name drop Tumblr?
Who broke
That
his
just
heart?
happened.
Who broke his heart in like sixth
Bro,
grade?
oh my
seventh
God.
grade?
Bro, I was there. I
Into
think
the Weekend.
Yo,
OG.
bro, OG. Like I'm like again, like I'm a true fan of like culture
Of
period,
heartbreak.
right?
Oh,
like
sorry.
and like I also know like again, like, and this is why like I'm so passionate about like the narratives that are being shaped now, right? Because I'm like, for it to be a culture that people care about, there needs to be lore, there needs to be story. I was talking about it earlier, right?
Absolutely.
Like this is like obviously like a big part of what I do, what Pop Shift does, and again, there's ways and different approaches to doing it. But I always look at it as like, yo, we're shaping narrative of our culture, because without the narrative being interesting, without the
no one's gonna look at the art.
Without the characters being interesting,
exactly.
Who cares about the art, right? This is real WWE shit, right?
It's true.
Like, this is real WWE shit.
185 coming out of the right corner. YDV.
Because that's all
There
it
was
is.
a day when I was 185. It's not, it ain't today.
But like, that's all it is.
But
Because
deeply,
people have to care about y'all to care about it. Because again, like, for somebody to come out to a show, there needs to be a real personal connection, right? Because you coming out, you listen to us,
supporting, that's
supporting,
yeah.
But again, it has to be outside of like the people that already know you. The family has to be larger, right? Like, people need to be able to like see you in like California and be like, yo, I never met this guy, but I love the story behind it, and I love the music too, right? Like, it needs to be a mix of both.
No, and that is the golden question, bro. The golden question that I think every artist is also like, even Drake, even Kendrick Lamar, is like, what am I representing that's me, and then what am I doing that's turning this into a business? If you knew that easily, then it'd be easy, right? And I think that's where each artist gets creative. It's like, what part of me do I showcase to prove that this is who I am, and like, this is the story that I'm bringing, and then what part of me do I showcase to get those clicks? Because sometimes the story never gets the clicks, bro. I've been making an album rollout for 9 months, right? And I'm trying way more on the story than clicks. I could have easily just gone for clicks. I could have done dumb shit. I'm out here crafting 2-minute long vlogs with prose spoken word poetry on top of edited visuals. That shit takes 2-3 weeks to make. It takes people 5 seconds to scroll past, and that's not a business, or that's
that's the entire point, though, right?
But here's the thing: the love of that art, right? You created this thing that took so much.
You gotta detach when you create. You have to detach.
I am detached. I'm just saying,
like, you gave it so much devotion. Like the same story,
I'm not saying it's just a hard line to navigate. It's like,
it is.
That's what I want to do for myself.
Completely
but like,
agree.
it's not gonna make money. I still want to do it though.
But I want to talk to, because again, like, we get into this thing as like artists where like, yo, it has to be one or the other, right? It has to be great art, or it has to be make business sense, right? But and I'm saying, like, the art is there. Like, I'm never, like, anytime I talk to any of y'all, right? I'm like, the art is already there. Because if the art wasn't there, we wouldn't be having a conversation. That's straight up.
No chai.
Huh? No,
hey,
straight,
no chai.
No,
no
bro,
chai
bro, no. Yo, like, straight up. If the art wasn't there, we wouldn't be conversing. Because
Facts.
realistically, the marketplace isn't big enough for me to fucking care about everybody up and down. It's only because the music is good.
Yeah. Right. And there's potential, there's a narrative, there's story, there's what you're talking about.
But that's the part that I'm saying, right?
Okay.
I want a more conscientious effort of the artist to build out that. Like, that was my conversation with Rax, right? Because I'm all like, yo, y'all been making music and y'all been fire.
Yeah.
Rax has been making music forever. Yeah. He's been fire. But again, the fact that the market was, and there's a lot of things that are not within y'all control. How big the industry is, the fact that up until a recent point, it was gatekept by a lot. It's still a lot. There's a lot of gatekeeping.
High key.
But
you can't control that. It's okay. You gotta let that go too, right? You gotta work around.
Yeah.
It's like, so an example about this, like, okay, we see everything that's happening in the world. Like, we could sit here and stand on our lawn and be like, why is everything changing? Why we can get mad about the changes, but like, you have to work through it, be like water with it. So I can sit here and I can say, can I be doing more as an artist? Absolutely. Can I change my strategies as an artist? Absolutely, right? It's like, I think the next step in our evolution in general is to master the art of detachment moving forward. Like, if something doesn't stick to the wall, it's okay. Throw something else. Do it again, right? But the core of, I think what we're all agreeing with, the core of the art is making sure that we are authentic to ourselves. And then what follows around that is something that we can always workshop and work with. You know?
This thing that, bro, you keep talking about story, narrative, narrative, right? Those don't come unless you've spent time listening to yourself, figuring yourself out. If you're so like what's happening a lot of the time nowadays is like, we're quickly, and a lot of newer artists, they're quickly seeing something that catches in virality and they're imitating it immediately.
Yeah.
Like, because they know what is gonna work. Like, they see this song and then they immediately do the same thing, try the same style. But that's where you lose who you are as an artist.
But I don't think he's saying to do that at all.
Yeah,
like,
but I'm saying that's like a method to getting clicks.
No, that's like a method. But I'm like, again, like, that's like
I think you're talking more narrative based.
I don't even want to talk about those people, because like that to me is like such it's not even like a useful argument, because I'm not even focused on those people, because those people aren't going to be relevant to me.
That's who we were.
No,
Like,
no,
bro,
but-
hold on. As an artist, when I first started learning music, what I would do is find something I really liked and try to replicate it.
Well, you get
That's how
inspiration's different
exactly.
from
I'm just
from
saying,
imitation.
there's artists at different stages who experience
Yeah,
different
no,
things.
but that, again, like
Rax is a
like,
signed artist.
Huh?
We're not. It's different. Yeah.
But I'm saying like even that, right? Like y'all, like I wouldn't be talking to y'all if y'all were still at that point in the journey.
Absolutely.
If y'all were
That's
still
what I'm
making
saying.
like that to me is like not the conversations that like I'm at the level that I even want to have. I'm at the conversation where it's like, yo, like I'm talking to the people who already have the talent, and I'm just trying to take this to a global stage.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
the only
fair,
that's
too.
the only
Yeah,
part of
that's
the conversation
demographic.
that I'm at, right?
Yeah.
And like when we talk about like yo, like why I'm saying like yo detachment. Right, that's where I think like the business element needs to come in because as artists, right, like
agree.
we passionate and close to the art. So many people in my circle be like, yo, like, because sometimes out of the passion of the art, I want to put out a certain type of episode.
Yeah.
You know the types of episodes I would really have up here if I really
get
wanted to, right? But because of I got real people in my corner that have a vested business interest in me that are like, yo, we need to do it. Like, I get it, right? But for you to elevate the art, you need to play at a certain level, right?
You have to. Yeah.
Like,
Can I piggyback on that real quick?
Yeah.
So my brother gave me this amazing advice. I was struggling with the business side of things recently, and he just said, operate the business side of this as if you were like somebody else's manager. Like make decisions outside of your own head as if you were trying to make another artist succeed. How would you operate then, right?
Great advice.
So like I think that's exactly the point, right? Like we have to question our own perspectives more as artists. And that's where like the hat needs to switch because we're so passionate. We're fucking. Can I curse on this?
yeah, of course.
We're fucking stubborn, bro.
Yeah.
We're so stubborn. We think that the way we see the world is the only way that the world can be seen, right?
Yeah.
And that's why it's evident in our art. But we have to question our perspectives when it comes outside of that to actually succeed. And I feel you. I'm with you.
And that's where I don't even put that on y'all. Like my constant like rah thing is to everybody who like. Because there's so many people, and we talked about this like a little bit before. There's so many people that want to be in the industry, but they are so focused on being the face. I'm like, yo, a bunch of y'all, your thing is not being an artist. Your thing is actually being the business behind the artist.
It's so vital too. We all need that.
But there's not enough of them. Because if I was somebody who's trying to make it in that space, I would be like, yo, like I would literally go to every single one of y'all. I'll go to P, I'd go to y'all, right? I'd go to like whoever, right? And be like, yo, like let me just manage the business. Right, because like hip hop, like again, like somebody who just follows like hip hop or has followed y'all students of the game, right? We talk about those people once they reach a certain level,
Yeah.
right? Like we don't talk like, yo, it's amazing that we talk about like Hove, right? But Hove isn't Hove without Dame Dash doing a lot of the business behind the scenes,
Yeah.
right? Like because as artists, right, flipping that cap constantly,
It's exhausting.
it's exhausting and it's at the detriment of the art at sometimes.
Exactly.
And that's why y'all need people. And again, y'all might have to put those in place, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, yo, I'm just the artist. You worry about because that person is going to be detached.
Yeah. But
Right?
then that defeats the purpose. What we're talking about is how do you create that narrative? You're saying a narrative should be made detached from the artist that just
No,
pushes
no,
the artist.
no,
as
no,
a-
no.
You see what I'm saying?
No. I'm
Yeah.
saying that. Hey,
The narrative's already
I'm saying
made.
no. I'm saying like no. I'm saying yo, I'm a manager.
Okay.
Right? I'm an A&R. I'm a manager. I'm somebody in the music like business, right? I come to you, I see it. You tell me, yo, I know who you are. I know what you're about. I know the story that you're trying to tell. I know the narrative that you're trying to shape. I'm from a detached perspective.
Interpretation. You need someone to interpret
Yeah,
narrative.
because I'm a consumer and a distributor, right? I know the
what I'm saying?
product
Yeah.
and I can distribute it. Because you are, hey, this is my product, right? Give it to somebody and be like, yo, that's what like labels are really supposed to do.
Yeah.
Back
Right,
in the
like
day.
that's what labels back in the day used to do.
Yeah, people just
Back
out
in
there
my
like
day.
that. Yeah, but it's like also to make that product though, the artist does need to be authentic. They do need to stick to the script. They got to find that voice. Right?
No.
I don't think that changes.
Yeah, I think
I don't think that changes.
to me,
No,
but
that's what
but
I want
like
to
the
agree
conversation-
on.
No,
though.
but
No,
yeah,
we'll
we
agree.
agree. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like that
Because when we
conversation.
started off,
yeah,
with
agreed.
saying like we're gonna have to figure out so we're saying that the clips is all just a way to market business.
so
No. Yeah,
I don't think- I don't think
yo,
we're ever
because
saying
I don't want to
not
have an
that.
art
I know,
conversation
I
with
just
y'all.
wanna
Yeah,
make
yeah.
sure.
I don't want to have the art conversation with y'all.
Art's
'cause-
very different
No,
in
because I don't want to have
business.
an art conversation.
I think you're harping
On the
on
art
the
side?
wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I get it, right? But I'm not even having the art conversation with y'all. I'm never telling an artist, yo, this is how you need to do your art. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Right? Like
get
y'all
that.
process, y'all do your art. How? But I'm always gonna come at it for like if we want to make this a business.
Yeah.
This is what we got to do. That goes without saying. The art being good goes without saying. We're not even having these conversations
Not
like
at
the
all.
art is good. If the art's not good, fuck it. I don't even want to talk to you.
I think a good example of that literally is what you're saying. Create the narrative. No one's saying not to create the narrative. We as artists create our narratives, but it's vital, and like something that I'm working on is bringing in people that can help me with this right now, is to interpret my narrative into something that's digestible outside my own head and outside my own worldview. So I think that's the next step in actually marketing successfully, right? Is to have that piece in your team that can see your vision and then be like, I get where you're going. Now let's just make this digestible for somebody else to actually get on your train too, to get to where you want to go. I think that's important.
No, so Shabs has an artist under like Desi Trill called like Young Sammy, right? He's
How old is he?
I have no idea.
Sorry, I just said young.
So he has an artist called like Young Sammy, and like Shabs kind of gave me like his view on Young Sammy. He's from Africa, but he speaks Gujarati, he speaks Hindi. He's like, what do you call it? A polyglot, basically, right? And I heard it in the way that Shabs is talking about it. It's like, oh, that's gonna be Young Sammy's like narrative, right? I'm from Africa. I grew up in India. I know how to speak all these languages, but I heard it. And as Young Sammy, he don't got to do anything but rap and sing about the way. But they're shaping the narrative around him that he's going to be that he's going to be a cross-global star because of that. And again, that's because Desi Trill has infrastructure. They got real marketing and business heads. And like, I'm sure as an artist, I'm sure he's like involved in the conversation of what is my narrative. But it's, this is how we going to package this.
Bro, it's like LeBron James at 16. Yes, he was one of the greatest athletes of all time at 16, but the narrative shaped around him at that time, like he's the next coming of Jesus, basically, right? Everyone wanted to see him succeed or fail, but they're there to watch. You know what I'm saying?
Bro,
like,
the
it makes
chosen
sense.
one narrative.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like you look at any artist up and down, right? Like the thing with like Drake coming up, right, was like, there's the hottest, youngest R&B, like all of that. All of even the hate, right, and how it was packaged. But the fact is that it was packaged and then made palatable. Because I think like, again, like once the art is fire, but then making it palatable to a wider audience, right? Because you gonna get the old heads, like not even the old heads, you gonna get like the real students of the game like us that go into the crates and learn every little bit of the thing of the artist. But that's not the mass, right? But it's to communicate that to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Right?
See, I just have and not even a different perspective. It's just, I think over the last year with the experience that I had making Intelligentsia, where it formed from a narrative, it wasn't something that needed a narrative after. For like a whole year, I found an idea, and I think maybe that was a privilege, right? Like that an idea was blessed and I was able to execute it. But like, for example, if and maybe I'm still harped up on this bit of an artist thing, right? So let's say an artist has already made music, or let's say they're not making music at this current point. This artist is about to go out there and put themselves onto the world. We don't have like a Shabs who's just gonna go talk, right? Because we're still figuring out what that is. The only chance we get to explain our narratives is through the music. So
I don't think that's true either.
Okay.
I think that you might be boxing yourself in a little bit, bro. Especially because Intelligentsia is, by the way, amazing project. Y'all need to tune into that when it comes out. Especially because it hasn't come out yet, right? So your narrative right now is only existing from what you've created. So there's like a whole different perspective now that comes out. As soon as a project comes out, now you're shaping it for the rest of the world, right? So you're sitting in a position where you're gearing up to drop this to the world. And that's like, it makes sense. The way you're thinking makes complete sense, and I get it, right? I'm think detached now. As soon as it comes out, it's completely different.
And
it's not yours anymore.
And that is the business. And that's why, and again, like this is why I want to have the conversation with you. Because I believe in what Intelligentsia is, right? But I've also had the privilege and opportunity to talk to you and for you to like communicate that to me on a one-on-one basis.
And that's without the music.
That's without the music.
My narrative made sense.
Again, but here's the thing, and I'm glad because I get to be excited for the project, right? Because I'm like, I know what it is. I know the work that you put in. But now, if I'm somebody who is going to try to be a fan, right? And somebody you're putting this out to, right?
Yeah.
How do you communicate to them who's not going to sit and listen to you?
True.
You get what I'm saying? Like, because again, I want them to know that narrative. I want them to know every little detail and be like, you put the story together. But how do we get more than 10 people that you can talk to on the day? More than Y, more than me, right? To really consume that and take that in.
Exactly,
right?
bro.
And like, and this is where I want to take out like the art is done and it's already fire. Like I've heard it. I've told you, like when you came off stages, I've told you, that record is fire. I've told you, that record is fire. Go work it, right? And to me, that is a true, like I'm never saying that shit to y'all. I want y'all to know that. Y'all know me, right? Like I was straight up like, if I don't believe in something, I'm never telling you that shit is good. Huh? No, I'm never telling y'all some shit is good if that, like I really I'll tell you I didn't hear that shit. Right? Like I'll tell you. But when I say that, it's really because I want y'all to then communicate that out. More people got to see it.
Yeah.
Because again, like hitting your audience is, to me, an important thing, right? And then hitting them in a way that they can then consume is the next step. Because again, we would not have this conversation if the art wasn't already there.
No, and I really do appreciate this convo because you're right, bro. And maybe the reason I'm having these thoughts is I am struggling with this right now.
Yeah.
It's a very and if I could just take 1 second, the last year, it's a 14-track album, right? It has 4 languages. It's all people of color. And it's like a story about how they have gone through their journey as an artist, either with family, society. And this works because I can explain it to you. So now how do I explain 18 artists, 18 stories, 18 visuals?
But that's the conversation I'm having with you right now.
That's what I'm trying to figure out,
That's the conversation I'm having with you right now, right? Because, it's crazy. Like, doing it on the pod isn't even that, right? Because I'm saying, like, that, to me, what you just explained needs to be, because that is a fire fucking story.
It's coming.
Yeah,
but it needs to be.
It's coming.
No, but it needs
the trailers and stuff is coming.
But trailers, like, and again, like, because y'all spending bread on this, like, again, like, I know that the effort is there, but I'm saying, like, now we got to look at, like, how this is being distributed,
You're right.
how this is being shown to them. Those 18 stories, like, again, like, we're just talking. I got to know that as a consumer before I even hit play. I got to give a fuck. I got to care, right? Because that's all the game that we're in.
Yeah.
Like, once we get to a certain point, once the art form is done, like, once this pod is done, right? I did my job. Again, when you're in the studio, you did your job. When you did the album, you did your job. When I'm in the podcast, I did my job. But after, I have a completely different job.
Yeah.
It's how do I now distribute this?
True.
Right? It's like the next step in it. And that's like the conversation. And it works out because you're about to release the album. And that's why this thing was timely,
it makes
right?
perfect sense.
It was timely. But because I look at, like, again, now we go into the next step of it, right? As y'all are building this out, right? Y'all are funding this from, like, different ways. I'm funding this from different ways, right? I want to then get to the point where it's like, I want to be able to put all of our focus to this. Because we talking about how difficult it is to, like, switch hats.
Yeah.
How do we switch hats from, like, this is what I do, but then I got to go do this because this is what makes money.
To living in 2 worlds at the same
Two different
time.
worlds, right? But I want to get to the point, because then, imagine how fire the art and the business then becomes.
I actually disagree.
Why?
So the only reason I disagree is I read a book called Collective Illusions.
Okay.
And the whole ethos of that book is the fact that the more illusions that you assimilate yourself with, the less likely you are to be stuck in one. So, for example, you say, right now you do have the luxury to change a hat. Sometimes when you don't have the luxury to change a hat, your head's going to swell up. Like, it's literally just that concept of, for example, right? If somebody who's born in a certain place, certain time, stayed there their entire life, that's the only ideologies or whatever access they have there, that's going to fuel their mind. The second you have the ability to change your association and associate with a different collective, that's the gift of switching a hat. And switching a hat doesn't come by taught knowledge. That is only experience and only through meeting people.
No. The meeting people. No,
talking
no.
about like
I'm talking
jobs,
about real
having a
bandwidth,
job.
like real jobs, right? Because like we talked about this after we talked about this after I got laid off, right?
And
I was like, you're not gonna. Somebody who's doing this for 2 hours a week is not gonna compete with me who's doing this shit for 45.
That's fair. Maybe.
Right?
Maybe.
No, they're not. I'm telling you, they're not.
It depends on the team, though. For example,
no,
right,
unless you 45x more talented than me, which you're not.
But
you're not. You're just not. You're just not, and you're not gonna outwork me. Seriously, seriously.
I agree.
You're gonna do this for 2 hours, and you're that much more talented than me? Fuck no, right? You're just not. Like, even the psychopaths who are at the top, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you're amazing at your craft, and you're doing this for like 90 hours a week. I heard the craziest thing. Again, like podcasts, like fucking. Like this, I'm a student of this game, right? Joe Budden talks about how he's like, we record. They put out 2 4-hour clips, 3 fucking Patreons that are like 30 minutes to an hour. He's like, we record probably like 50 plus hours every week to come up with 10 hours of content.
Yeah, trim the fat off.
And that's somebody who is, top of his game.
Yeah.
So again, like even from an artist level, because I would say like, the talent is, everybody is, I'll listen to a random record from some random person I've never heard of and be like, this is crazy.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, think about this too. Like, how many songs do we have in the vault that'll never touch anyone? No one's gonna hear it, right?
Yeah.
We work really hard on making. We make music every day. We create shit every day. But there's a certain point where you only know that consumers only see what we put out, right? So we're talking about like we're cutting hours off, but people don't see the work behind how much we actually do to get to where we are now, right? So I think that also goes back to narrative, right? If we get married to how much we've created, we lose focus on how to build with what we're putting forward, right?
Yeah.
So I see you. I agree with you.
Don't even take it a certain way, right? Let me
No,
say,
no, I'm not
let me tell you something. As somebody who, I'm a fan of the record, right?
Yeah.
So I want to give it love, right? But then, what's the name of the record that you performed at Bifikra with Real and Ricky?
Motherland. Yeah, Motherland.
Motherland. Yo, if I was you, right? This is straight up like objective, like we just talking on the pod, right?
Yeah.
If I was you, I would put out that record, right? Straight up, this is how I would go about it. I would put out that record. I would then tell the story of who he is, Real Amriki, right? And start there. Because, again, you're not doing a disservice to your art. Because more people will care about the full narrative once I get the heat, once I get the slap.
I could just say it now. That is the first record coming out.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. Yeah, look at how the game plan is beautiful,
Bro,
right?
Like, the game plan is very well thought out.
script is scripted.
I'm just at a point right now where I have something in my hands that is of so much value, which is not mine. And it deserves to go exactly what you're saying. So Motherland is the first one that's going to come out. It's going to come out on Independence Day for India on August 15th. That is part of the narrative.
Beautiful.
The story's coming right after. Next two singles are August 28th and September 6th,
Beautiful,
September 20th.
right? And that's what I mean about like, yo,
The plan is all
I'm so
there.
glad that it's there,
Yeah.
right? Because I think that like, again, the product is fire, right?
Yeah.
Now we just got to worry about, how do we get the business to catch up?
Yeah.
Right. That's all we're in the game of, right? Like all of us, like again, like we're always gonna be like that's who we are, right? Like full psychopaths. We're gonna always better the craft.
Yeah.
Right, like we're always gonna better the craft, right? Like you could give me like however, I'm always gonna better the craft. That's just who I am, right? I'm gonna always watch game tape. I'm always like that's already a given with y'all. I know y'all gonna be in the studio for hours, even if nobody was telling y'all to be. Nobody has been telling y'all to be in the studio.
Now, I just have a question now, though. So let's say the thing you were saying, right? So an artist who only has to be an artist, that's the only cap they ever wear, right? Someone who's just making the art. And now you have an artist who's also wearing, for example, you're your podcast host, but you're also the guy who's talking to the people, recruiting, setting these things up, trying to figure out like who to talk to, the narrative of the story, all these things that are outside of you actually being that role. So us too, right? Like for example, if there's an artist who's also able to think about business, to think about marketing, to think about strategy, isn't that the more like we started this conversation with is like an artist who's able to do those things?
Able.
Who does both?
Able and be the best at are very different, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to be able up and down.
Yeah.
I know every part of my process. I know how to edit a video. I'm like learning those things too. I know how to make a thumbnail clip. I know how to edit TikToks. But
how'd you get there though?
Huh?
By doing it, right?
By doing it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I know that no matter what, I am never going to be the best TikTok editor.
Yeah.
I know for a fact I'm never going to be the best video editor. It's just not my passion, right? But eventually, but I need to have an understanding of it so I can talk to it.
Yeah.
Right? I need to have an understanding of my business so I could talk about it. But the thing is, at some point, I'm never the guy who spends 40 hours a week becoming the best video editor.
you're not gonna be.
I'm not
you're
going to
never
be
gonna
that.
be better than him.
Right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you can only be LeBron in one
Agreed.
field. Like
Yeah.
people always talk about how like LeBron could have played football. Yeah. If you put the fucking time in, and even now. Even now, he's
not wrong.
probably nice at football,
Yeah.
but he is not competing against somebody who does this for 40 hours a week, and that's their main focus. And that's what I'm saying. I told you this.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, it's fantastic that you have the understanding on how to put a full album together, how to plan out your visuals. Because now, when I put some money behind you, right? Like real money and a real budget and a
It's
real
gonna
team.
happen, yeah.
You can then
It's
be
about
like,
time.
yo, this is what I want, and this is what I want,
Yeah.
and this is what I want. And then you're just tweaking.
Exactly.
You're just
Getting there
tweaking.
takes time too.
Of
Getting
course,
there takes
right?
making the
Yeah.
albums, the singles. It takes
You
time.
got
yeah.
to get your reps in at
And
every.
it'd be a luxury for somebody to just be like, "Yo, here's some money, go make some music, and we'll take care of everything else." But like, that's
No,
also, it's gonna
absolutely,
take time.
right?
Yeah.
I also think that just general perspective, something that I'm trying to practice more now
Yeah.
at this point in my career.
Preach
is, like,
Desi.
being an artist is a choice. Like, and I think that we lose sight of that sometimes because we're so in our own heads about what we're creating. We're like, we have to get this out. I have to do this. Like, sometimes just taking a step back and like just looking at the entire like what's happening, what we've done, is really important. Like being grateful for the fact that we can create art is so vital to the next steps in our careers, right? So what you're saying, like, I don't think there's about like, you know, an artist that has a luxury to do X, Y, and Z. Like making art in itself is a luxury.
It is a luxury.
And I think it's like, it's not the only cap we got to wear. Like
Yeah.
I think inherently, if you're an artist, you have the ability to not wear the cap at all. Like that thing, that's true artistry, right? You step away from the craft. That's how you learn.
But
how you
that's
grow.
why I'm stressed about it. If I had to wear the cap all the time,
But you don't got it. That's the thing, right? Like if
True.
you wear it all the time, you're you're fucking yourself, right? Because then you're stuck in your own
Overthinking,
time
you're
loop.
stuck
Yeah,
in your
you're gonna
head.
switch in. You're still gonna switch
Yeah.
in, right? Like, no matter how big that this gets, right? No matter how big y'all get, I don't ever want to be the type of person who has no idea about the business behind my business.
You
right?
gotta know. You
Like,
gotta know.
know.
Absolutely.
Like,
You gotta
that's
know.
how you get fucked.
That's how you
You
get
right?
fucked.
That's,
Yeah.
that's how you get
If
fucked.
people thrive off that shit. They want to eat you up in this
That's the
industry.
But again, like we're not saying
It's
you're not
not the
gonna.
entertainment industry.
Yeah,
Any
we're not gonna
industry.
say you're not gonna switch the caps. It's just like, yo, I don't gotta give this 20 hours. I could give that 20. I could give it 5. Right? I could give this one.
Yeah,
of
and
the
that
week.
comes with practice. You just
Yeah.
gotta keep going.
Talking
keep
about
going.
practice?
Talking about
Talking about
practice.
a game.
Bro,
Yeah.
no, and here's the thing. Like, this is where y'all are getting, all of us, right?
Yeah.
We're all getting our reps in here, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm always so happy, like, because I used to, like, I'm sure all of us, right? Like, I wanted to be, like, popping at, like, 20. I was like, I really thought I was that talented. I told you, like,
we all
this,
did,
This is my
yeah.
3rd podcast, right?
Yeah.
I thought I was so good. I was in, like, my parents' like basement, and I thought I was so good on a mic that I was like, yo, somebody's gonna hit, my 20 listeners a week. Somebody gonna hit.
Delusion's the first stage.
Bro, delusion is the
We're
first
all
stage.
mentally
It gotta be.
unstable
It's
somewhere.
somebody.
Like,
Or are we
somewhere.
stable and everyone else is
Like,
fucked
I'm
up?
trying to be humble right now, but I know.
No,
I'm
bro.
fucking
You tried?
shit. Like I'm so lucky my hands are closed right now. If I was stood up right here, I would be talking. I'm trying to play it nice too.
But that's
like,
but that's where the work.
I have a
that's where-
narrative, bro.
that's where
They got no idea.
That's where the work catch up to the delusion, right? Like how I
That's the biggest gap for a lot of up and coming artists.
The
They get
biggest
stuck
gap.
in
delusion
delusion
first.
Yeah, they get stuck
and
in
they can't
delusion.
do
They
the
don't put the
work.
work.
It's a lot of these people just want to be viral. They
Also,
want to
like,
be art. They want to be these famous. Like
No.
You gotta
They
be
don't. They
comfortable
can't do the
failing.
art though.
Huh?
You gotta
There's
be
no
comfortable
art.
failing.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like the delusion of who I am.
Yeah.
Like, yo, y'all have no idea how good I think I'm on this mic. I can't even talk about that, right? But
You're doing it right now. Keep doing it. Speak that shit.
I can't.
Why you
like-
stopping it now?
Fire in the booth. Where's the? Boop, 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 boop,
No.
boop,
Like again,
boop.
like, but again, it don't because it my delusions, y'all delusions don't really matter. Don't really matter unless we could communicate that.
Right.
Unless
Making
other
it
people,
real.
Unless
Yeah.
people like you make platforms for
facts.
motherfuckers like us. to
unless
stunt.
other people think I'm just as good as I think I am in my head,
Yeah.
why does it matter?
No, but that's the people that you want to be around too. And like especially like shout out Formula and like shout out our groups. Like it's really important to associate yourself with that. Like if we weren't around this kind of energy, we wouldn't be thinking or talking about this the same way. It's because all 3 of us are so fucking committed to this idea that we have in our head that we are willing to die on a sword in battle for it. I am in the war with the trenches with my dogs right now, and we're all chasing something, bro. It's like I'm glad that you see so much value in us and you see how we can help us. Help us.
No,
Like, it shouldn't like a lot of bro, and this not you, right? A lot of these people, anytime we do something cool or anytime an artist does something cool, they're like, yo, this fire, let me help, and then shit don't happen. So
Yeah,
let's make a plan. Let's figure out how to take over, and we
No,
change
no.
the
No,
No,
industry.
that's a given. But
No, I'm not saying that's your job. I'm just saying like that's
bro. I'm willing to, and that's the conversation. Like, because I think that it is it really is a community build. Like that's
Yeah,
why the only reason
exactly.
I'm even having these conversations, right? Because it's like, yo, like I want it to be that. Because like I know that
Yeah.
I need certain things from certain people.
Yeah.
like
Oh, cute on camera, damn.
there's certain like there's certain.
fire, my boy.
There's certain like people that I look to and I'm like, yo, I have no idea what I'm doing. I gotta hit you for some business. And like that's where our OGs step in and like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Hopefully like we can associate with those, right?
Yeah.
Like we all have like mentors and like that don't even do what we do maybe. Right? But they could provide some level of
The
thing.
different
That's-
perspective, like the thing that we don't think about, which is what you're talking about, like these different angles. Yeah.
and that's where like again like I think the next step for and I don't even know where y'all at with it is to build like those teams, right?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
when we talk, like,
I'm in
we
the
talk-
middle of it right now. I swear to God, bro. Before I came out here, that's what I was doing. Like the last week has just been figuring out how to find somebody, and I know who. Right, we're working together right now.
Yeah.
It's just like how to elevate from within, right? Because again, at the end of the day, you got to question your own bullshit. Because the gap between delusion and success is letting go of your bullshit on the way, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's the hardest thing to do. It's
Letting-
literally the
letting
hardest
go
thing
of
to
your
do.
bullshit and then trusting the people too. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, we talked about like Kahani before,
And trusting
right?
yourself to be like comfortable with knowing that if you fuck up, it's okay, right?
it's
Like
okay.
don't get married to failure.
Just go to the next one.
That's like the
just go to
biggest
next
thing,
one.
right? Exactly. People get married to their failures and they don't want to keep going. They don't want to push forward and try
Yeah.
something new.
The thing that
Like
bothers
this is your
me
third
more-
podcast, right?
Yeah.
Like that's incredible, bro. I much respect to you, honestly.
Nah, bro,
right?
like,
No, but that's
how many people
also-
stop at one?
Yeah, no,
You
but
know?
what you just said too. Fear is one. Is that
Fear
there's
is a
that
mind
angle.
killer.
No, and then there's the opposite. The fear of
Where's that
failure.
from?
So you never.
Dune.
No, I got beef with Dune. I got beef with Dune.
Bro.
I'm not watching Dune. I'm never gonna watch Dune. I got beef with Dune.
You're
Dune too.
I'm calling it out right now. That's
Honestly,
my
it's his
decision.
loss.
Hey, Hans Zimmer, I demoed a product to you, bro. Like you could have.
This is where the delusions come in.
Hans Zimmer, I demoed a product to you. We were trying to help deaf people hear music. Hey, you told me I wasn't good enough. I tried, my bro.
The thing that
Watch
I
that
noticed.
shit. It's a great movie.
Yeah, it was
I
actually
can't.
fire. The thing that I
can't.
like noticed, like the first thing I even said to like Kahani and them, I was like, yo, I didn't even realize how many people were fucking involved here. But again,
They got big teams.
But something like that, again, to the level that they're playing at, you need that level of team.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
like again, and Kahani and Cole are still doing a lot dolo.
Yeah, and what that also takes an artist who knows exactly what he wants to deliver, bro.
Well,
that's 100%
yeah,
what.
no,
You have to give him props.
No, absolutely,
He
but I'm
knows
saying-
exactly what he wants
Yeah,
to do.
yeah, their
at all
vision
times.
is-
Props,
You
props,
need that.
Legend.
You
He's a
need
legend.
that.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
need
Yeah.
that.
They're legends.
You need a clear vision, and I'm not even. You need somebody who knows exactly why it was started. And you need that person at all times pioneering and reminding people why they had to do that.
Bro, we talked about
like we went through that too sometimes. too.
We all worked
Like,
out
should
of corporate.
talk about- yeah.
We all worked out of corporate, right? The culture set and whether that goes through your entire team makes sense, right? Like I talk about it all the time.
It
I'm
has
like,
to. It has
I'm
to
all like,
be.
yo,
Culture's important.
Huh?
Yeah, culture's important.
Culture is
man.
important, and we don't look at it like we all gotta like again artists, right? We all have to start
We
looking
just
at
call
ourselves
it energy.
as like mini, like we like little mini corporations, right? We're running mini
Facts.
companies.
Yeah.
All of
Yeah.
us probably got like we're mini companies.
Yeah.
So anytime I bring somebody on, I'm like, yo, you gotta understand what I'm trying to promote.
Yeah.
You gotta understand the ethos of
The
this.
ethos, exactly.
Because if it doesn't,
Yeah.
when I trust you to go do something, it's never gonna
Nah,
communicate
you're not in my
the way.
team. Get the fuck out. We don't got time for that. It's exactly what you're talking about. It's like, but to deliver that message takes a charismatic individual. Like, and I'm glad we got good people like that. But it's like, what are you doing with this? Like next, right? Is that where you're going with this?
I'm going with like
How
as
do you
a
just send
full-
it to the next level?
how do we
Yeah.
again like and again I want to always go back to like, yo, I'm only having this conversation because the art already there. So then it ends up, hey, how do we distribute this? But then also, what is the next step or the next level? It is, I think, team.
Yeah.
It is team. It is, yo, I'm not again, I'm an incredible, I know, honestly, I'm gonna call out a flaw. Like, I really don't know, like, the TikTok things like that.
No one does, bro. That shit's
But-
so confusing.
No, but like, there are some people that have.
what the fuck is TikTok? I
TikTok
hate that
trends?
shit. I hate
Bro,
it.
TikTok has ruined artistry.
Bro.
I mean, sorry. I'll
but
take
no,
that back. I'll
but-
take that back.
no, but don't
No,
forget-
I'll take that back. TikTok has given a lot of opportunity to a
Yeah.
lot of people.
Exactly. Flip
but-
perspectives, bro.
No,
Exactly.
Flip
it's-
perspective.
flip
Yo,
perspectives.
You know what that guy like Tommy Richman understood?
Yeah.
Right.
He played TikTok like a
He played
boy,
it. But
I
again,
ain't
he's a guy
never
who's been in the
represented.
music game for a minute.
Can't do no
But
wrong.
what did he figure out? Yo, I know exactly how to do this to my benefit.
Yeah.
It's like when you accept that, like, if I know this, like, I'm in this stage right now what we're talking about. Like, I used to get upset when my shit wouldn't pop off on TikTok or Instagram, and I'm like, why? My content, like, I feel like it's good, like, I'm putting work into it. But then, like, play the game. Like, play the game, but like, know that you're not giving the game power, but like, play it.
Bro,
You know,
it's like,
just play it.
It's like when people complain about like, yo, you can't complain about the rules of a game that you weren't around when the rules were made.
And also, it's a choice to do it. Like, we have to remember that we're choosing to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's like,
How
yo,
can we
we
complain?
didn't
You
make the
can't
rules.
be in the game
And then be pissed about it. It's like, we're in it. Like, let's just be real about it.
Yeah, like what are we gonna do? Like complain like, oh, there's labels. Oh, there's like this. Like it
can't-
should be
you
an
can't- Which
individual
it's part
meritocracy.
of-
Like
That's
not
how we
no,
make
no.
excuses for ourselves, and
Yeah.
that's how we
To
fall
get
into
in your head
stagnation,
and
right?
shit, yeah.
And
Well,
like,
also Tommy Richman, right? There's definitely a machine that pushed the button a little.
yeah,
to promote
absolutely.
and to get in
No,
the right
of course,
place.
of course.
But
And
that's part of it. The
then-
machine, the
exactly,
machine's
no.
a step. Honestly,
Yeah,
the
to-
machine's a step.
Yeah, no,
like it's
but
a step
to
that
meet-
artists reach at some point.
to meet
right?
the machine is a step itself.
You got to get there.
Like that's a whole
Yeah.
different thing, like which people don't always know, right? It's like what you're talking about is like sometimes just a button.
Also, I think we got to be
There's levels,
careful.
yeah.
It's,
No,
it's a
there's-
button for some, but I would say for most, it's you have product. We 10x this.
Hey, no,
right?
that's
Like,
that's the truth.
Yeah.
They
It's
wouldn't push a button
we
if the product
yeah,
wasn't
that's what I'm
10x-able.
saying, right?
Well,
So then we're
That's the
competing for
business.
button, right? Like we're competing for button.
You're competing for button, and you're also competing for what could get the most out of the button.
Yeah.
But
Right?
I think something that we actually should be more careful about mentally is like to not call it a machine. Like, oh, the machine did this, right? Because at the end of the day, there are so many people involved in creating this, right?
Yeah.
So when we say it's a machine, we're like, oh, it's an excuse. Like, oh, they got a machine. Like, we can't reach that, right?
No,
it's
facts,
mental.
facts,
Yeah,
facts.
I'm not
No,
trying
no,
to umbrella a big thing. You know.
Yeah,
I'm
but
trying to
no,
say,
no,
like,
no.
I like that
perspective,
you said that, right? Because that is true, right?
Yeah.
Because then
Is
when
there a machine, another machine?
But
Yeah.
it's like we gotta build our machines.
Yeah,
I got
exactly.
my-
It's not a negative.
Yeah,
Like, you
it's
gotta
not,
make it
it's not a
positive.
negative because we're talking about like, yo, we all just playing parts. Like a machine is bad. A team is probably a truer reflection of what it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? You need like, you know why that you know what the machine parts are? The guy at the label who's gonna go to every radio station and be like, "Yo, play this."
Yeah.
Then you have the guy who's
That's
gonna
a
do
team.
guerrilla
Yes.
outreach.
Yeah,
Then you have a guy who's gonna do
Exactly.
like make TikToks. Then you have a guy who's gonna do ad analytics.
All real people.
Yeah.
They're all real people that are doing small parts. Now, are they more efficient? Back to what we're saying. 'Cause that's
Absolutely.
all they do.
Yeah.
They're the most efficient.
Hey,
at it.
Find the right people
I
to do
didn't
But we
mean-
can do all
I
those
didn't
same
mean-
things.
So true. So
yeah.
true.
Yeah, we could do the same things. Like my machine is me. Your machine is you, right?
Yeah.
I like realize that as like a owner,
I mean,
right?
I call my machine. I call my team or myself a machine out of endearment, bro.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
out of like a
No.
positive working
But-
force.
No,
Yeah.
but like I have to think. I'm like, yo, saying that like, oh, I don't have a team, so I don't have somebody to like figure out how to do ad spend. That's a cop out.
no, it's
Yeah.
a cop out.
I
That's
gotta
what he
go
was
sit
saying.
and
That's what
figure
I'm
out how to
saying.
do ad
Yeah.
spend.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what he was just saying. He was just like,
people
that is
say,
a cop out.
I'm
It's an
good. I can't
excuse.
do it. you
Yeah,
know?
like
It's an excuse.
I gotta go sit out and
bro,
figure out how to do
anything
ad
you want to
spend.
learn about the music industry is on YouTube.
Bro, I think the
It's
biggest
on
philosophy,
YouTube.
I know
Almost all
you
of
agree
it.
with this shit. We talked about this before. The
talk.
biggest philosophy
Spit right now.
is
Drop it.
anything and everything that's ever been created or done in this world was done by another human being.
Yeah.
There's no limits to what you can do, right?
Yeah.
If you get afraid of lore, if you're fearing like hitting the potential that you can find in your own world,
Yeah.
then like you're fucked, right? Like anything's possible because someone has done it.
Yeah. But
And-
see, that takes a strong ability from within to believe in yourself.
Self-belief.
Yeah, but bro, we would
That's not-
again.
but
Back
I-
to
I
the
know.
conversation. We would not be here.
I know, but it's
that's
always
like the part
important.
that I don't even
I'm
need to talk to y'all
intelligent.
about.
Yeah, but it's important to always understand that both sides of the coin, bro. It takes 2 points to make a line. It takes 2 coins to flip it. Whatever I said in that song. But
Spit it right now.
no, it's just important to realize that like the luxury that we're talking about is also something that it is teachable, and it's not something everyone doesn't have.
Yeah,
It's just
anyone
a
can
choice
do
to
it.
turn that on.
Yeah.
It's not like we are above or we have something that is different. It's your choice to turn it on or not.
I think that's why our music
that's all I was
resonates.
trying
Huh?
to say.
That's
why
yeah,
our
the
music
inclusive
resonates.
perspective of that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
but I think that's where like the from delusion to the work, right? I could say like, yo, I don't know anything about ads, but that like what? I'm just gonna take that little gap of knowledge. That's gonna be like the reason I don't succeed.
Yeah,
So what? I'm just
that's
not gonna.
bullshit.
So I'm just not gonna like learn it, right? Or like
God,
whatever the
yeah.
step is, right? Like
Yeah.
because it is on self, right? And when you come to that acceptance, again, we talk. There's definitely uncontrollables, right?
Yeah.
But when you control the immediate thing in front of you, that's your responsibility. That's not anybody else's responsibility. That's your responsibility. If you don't know how to market, go figure out somebody who knows how to market,
Yeah.
or learn how to market.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear like the reason of like
No, that's facts.
what it is,
Bro,
right?
you did that, by the way. I give you flowers real quick.
Thank
Like you
you.
really put together like your visuals, like the way that you've been creating recently. It's amazing, right? Like that took how many years to find out where you are right now, what you've done, bro? It's beautiful, right? Like,
Dude.
the steps are there. Like you're climbing up. We're all climbing up, but like I feel like it's tense right now because you're so close to like getting over the next peak.
Yeah, I'm
Right?
a little tense right now.
I know you're tense, but that's what I'm saying. Like, bro, brother to brother, just like let go of that tension. You're there. Like, just
Yeah.
keep pushing.
Yeah,
No,
I lo-
and let
yeah.
me take a second to just to talk about the team. Like, I'm a very, very, very big believer in team. Like, I came to this city 6 years ago, and like 7 years ago, I wasn't in music at that time. But I came here, and I already knew that was what I wanted to do. When I started here, I knew nobody. I didn't know anyone in this industry. Okay, but I have made such a shout out Akshat, shout out Karun, shout out Genius, shout out Roy, shout out Max, shout out Raul. Like all of these people who spend their time invested into my thing is unbelievable, bro. And I'm actually very, very grateful because what you're talking about, I don't know any of these things. Shout out Moye as well, who's helping me with ad stuff. I don't know any of these things. The reason why Intelligentsia, in my opinion, is going to be very successful is because I made it solely as an artist. I didn't think about anything else other than making intelligentsia. Redefining a word that has already existed for millennia and giving it a new definition was the only goal.
Bro.
Now I don't know what the fuck all else is like. I need their help.
It truly take an army, bro. It take an army. It take a village.
I
it take
can't
a
do any
community.
of that.
People in our community love throwing around the word community,
love
right?
it.
But it's like what that really means is that, right? Like, yo, I need an army behind me to like make this shit move, right?
Yeah.
And that's really what it is, right? Like all of us, right? Like we all play a part in each other's lives. Like I'm nobody without the artists, the entertainers,
without,
right?
like, to talk to and stuff, yeah.
back and forth, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's really what it is.
We're building
We
bridges
need
together,
you
bro.
to put our stuff out there.
Always, bro. Like it
even-
really is. Like that's what community really is,
And
like,
that's why
like,
I brought you for the release party, bro. Because like the whole time, like every time
Nah,
we
we gonna
talk
cook.
too.
We gonna cook.
I know, bro. Every
Yo.
time we always talk, the energy is fucking. What
It's
is
always
that?
this. It's always this.
Yeah, no, what
It's
is that
always
word where
this.
it's like not seeping, but it's like
Devolve.
vibrant.
Yeah. Yo,
Put that shit in the dictionary right now.
I'm naming this
Put
episode
that shit-
Devolve. Do it.
Bro, just we gotta start writing lyrics or
No,
something.
We got there.
No, boys.
Talking about yeah.
Nah,
It's wrapped. It's wrapped.
Yeah, I want to say, yo, y'all. Appreciate y'all coming up. Appreciate y'all doing this. Appreciate that energy y'all like really brought. Like I literally texted my girl. I was like, "Yo, it's gonna be a good pod before."
Hell
and,
yeah.
and she's like, "Yo, like that."
Hell
And
yeah,
I was
energy.
like, "Yeah, like the boys brought the energy, right?" And I was like, I could tell. Like I was like, "Yo, we gonna cook this." But yo, boys, y'all know how I feel about both of y'all. Y'all know, like I'm a fan. I'm like so invested in both of y'all succeeding in what y'all want to do, right? With the art, with the business, with all of it, right? Because I want us to have it all, right? I want y'all to have it all. So, yo, appreciate y'all listening. Peace.
Love. Burning Wheels out.
Intelligentsia.
August
Come to
9th.
the release
All of that, all of that, all of
party.
that.
Figure out all this narrative stuff out there.
Boys.